So there are two categories here for a Wen Bing fever, right? These two categories are an excess fever and deficient fever. So excess fevers are generally found in the upper and the middle jowl, and sometimes the lower jowl, but most likely not, right? If you're using a Sanjiao idea. By the time it gets to the lower jowl, this pathogen is burnt through everything. Unless the pathogen is still burning strong, you'll probably start to find yin deficiency in the lower jowl as the kidneys and the liver yin has been first injured in the middle jowl and the kidney yin gets injured in the lower jowl, right? When you're talking about Wei, Qi, Yin, and Shui, right, the blood, when you're talking about this, you'll find excess fevers in the Wei level. You'll find excess fevers in the Qi level, right? You can find some excess fevers in the Yin level, but you'll start to find deficiency fevers in the Yin level because of the fact that you're going to find a lot of yin deficiency. And in the blood level, you're going to find you can find excess too, but you find a lot of stirring of blood and bleeding. That can be due to excess heat, or it can be due to deficiency. It can be due to deficiency, or there can be deficiency as a part of that as well. So, two categories for Wen Bing fevers. Excess. This occurs at the initial onset and through the middle stages, through the critical or the exuberant stages. This is why you have the exuberant fever, right? This pathogen comes in through the Wei level, makes it into the Qi level. Stomach has to use its, Yangming fluids to support the Wei. Boom, the fever spikes, right? So you get this spike fever. You get an exuberant fever. This is when the Zhengqi and the pathogen now are at a major battle. The Zhengqi gets a boost from the Yangming, and it starts to really, really burn hot, right? So this is this idea here. But a deficient fever, this occurs more during the last or final stages of the Wen Bing disease. After a pathology has consumed yin fluids, the person is left with yin deficiency. And that yin deficiency generally becomes substantial enough to see a difference between the amount of yang you have and the amount of yin you have, right? Because if you see a substantial difference, then you're going to get a difference. You're going to get the yang rising, you're going to get this heat, right? Because the yin can't anchor it down, but it's got to be fairly substantial, or something that's been a long time coming, right? If you look at, for example, menopause, obviously it might not be super substantial in the sense of having such dramatic reasons for it occurring. It's just happened over time, over a long time, right? And then they start to develop hot flashes from that, and night sweats and deficient feverish symptoms. The subsequent yin deficiencies result in empty heat, which is marked by deficient fevers, right? Night sweats, deficient fevers that are hotter at night, 5 palm heat, these are things that tend to occur due to yin deficiency. If the exuberant pathological yang still continues along the same side that deficient heat occurs with, then a combination of both full and empty heat will form in a fever. So it means you can still have full fevers, but then at night you can find a rise in fevers again, right? So you can have full fevers during the day and then they kind of subside, and then at night you find a rise in fevers again. You can find 5 palm heat. You can find night sweating. So you can see this mix of full and empty heat, right? You can see kidney yin deficiency signs. You can see malar flushes, even though you still have full heat signs. You can see a lot of these kind of mixture of full and empty heat signs as this goes on. So you can have, for example, full heat, right? But at the same time, the empty heat could stir, say, tremoring, right? In the liver, this empty heat and this yin deficiency could, say, set off liver yin deficiency heat that stirs internal liver wind, right? And you get this kind of minor shaking. Whereas the full heat is really burning somewhere else. It's not what's actually stirring the liver wind. So that minor twitching and ticking and stuff like that could be due to deficiency, right? While you have actually full heat symptoms occurring elsewhere with high fevers and everything else. Does that make sense to people? Does that make sense? I know the fevers can get a little bit in depth here, but I just want people to understand that.